Say it again.
Unfortunately, had an Overwatch game go long.
Oh,
couldn't clutch it out. Couldn't win. But it's all right. There'll be more games another day.
Overwatch is I never got into that. I don't know.
Well, if you're into the multiplayer sort of competitive nature of games, it's a good one. Sorry, dog's in here. Crash. Wow. Any games you're playing before we get too deep into this? What are you balling on right now?
So I haven't bought a new, I guess, a quote unquote new game in a while. So I've just been on Game Pass. Madden 25 hit. I downloaded PGA Tour, played that for a little bit. Really waiting for the new Pokemon games to come out on Switch. Then I'll dive kind of back into that. But I mean, not nothing too much. Nothing I haven't been able to sit down and play for a while.
I feel that, but I mean, hey, any gamers out there? Game Pass, Xbox, Windows, and then the PlayStation Plus, definitely the way to go. A lot of good stuff on there for sure. I just got Dragon Age for PlayStation for free, the new one.
Part of me feels like I really do need to upgrade to the Series S or X because now only the new games are coming out on that. But part of me goes back to God, what was that, 2002-ish, when that original Xbox came out, and I've just been sticking with it the whole time. I do feel like PlayStation has better games now.
I think the single-player games.
Sure.
By far.
Yeah.
For sure. I just got through Wukong, or I'm going,
I heard that was good.
Oh, it was so good. And it's one of those games where you finish and then, you don't have everything unlocked, and you're like, wow, that was kind of weird. And then it's like, oh, here, play a new game where you get to keep everything you just got. Same level, but everything gets harder.
Mm.
And so you play through it, 2, 3, 4 times, and it definitely changes the game. I'm pretty sure I've seen in there where, some of the bosses have new moves, or maybe I'm just getting deeper into the fight because it's taken longer for some of them, and they're, getting to that 2, 3 tier boss fight sort of thing. But if you dabble and decide to go PlayStation or at least upgrade to that one, whatever, that game is one of the best games I've played, in my opinion.
I mean, at this point, it feels like a relationship. Been with Xbox for, 20 years.
Oh, I don't even talk to me about that. Because I grew up on Halo and was Xbox ride or die. But then got to college and PlayStation had free online.
That's fair.
It's hard to argue that.
I mean, it's tough. We'll have to see. Like I said, kind of been exclusively on Switch for a minute for buying new games. But I haven't bought the new FIFA 3 years now, I think.
Wow.
Whenever they switched it over to EA FC.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine. Same thing with Madden. The new ones on Game Pass. I'm not paying $75 for a new one
every year.
No.
Same with Call of Duty for me, honestly.
Oh, see, when Call of Duty hit Game Pass in September or October, whatever. Oh, that was game changer.
I haven't even got the new one. I know I need to.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, all right. Well,
that's what I mean. The whole series is on Game Pass now.
Huh. Shows how out of the loop I am.
I know, right? Well, I thought it was they do the free play weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I had the house to myself for a weekend. I was like, oh, let me go see. And I thought I was able to get online. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then the weekend ended, and I tried to go back on a Tuesday, and I still had access. And I was like, this is interesting. Did a little Google search. I was like, no, it's fully on Game Pass now. If you have that, you got all the games. Multiplayer, single player, everything.
Hey, that just nails the point home. Game Pass is where it's at.
Yeah. No, you might be right there. But I haven't played Warzone since COVID. Or shortly thereafter. I know, right? That was a different place.
Oh man, Warzone. Now it's still going for sure. I just there's also a lot more battle royales out too that came out after Warzone, like Apex, for example.
Okay.
That has a pro league, has its tournaments, stays consistent with the updates, new legends and stuff. So that game, new maps, constant, and what they do that's kind of fun is they rotate maps. Like,
Ooh.
I don't know the time frame, once a day, every few days or whatever for the ranked, but like some of the quick play modes that rotates, a few times a day. So you can get on in the morning, play one map, and then get on after work and play more on a different map. And so you're always getting fresh looks. So
yeah, I might have to branch out and try something new. We'll see. But like I said, I know there's, I think Pokemon Day was a couple weeks ago. They got 2 new games coming this year, so that'll take up some time whenever those decide to come out.
Oh, my brother was showing me the new one where you can like dodge and move.
Yeah, Legends ZA, which will be on the new Switch, the Switch 2, and the original Switch. I think holiday this year. And then I don't know if that's it. I thought there was also a second one that's coming, but I'm not sure. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm not sitting here like clamoring for something new to take up 8 hours of my day.
I feel that. I got plenty of things on the old download that can do that for me any given day.
All right, well let's get in because I made the pool bracket on CBS, which we'll post so that we can kind of compare as it's going along. But do you want to? I don't want to spoil our 2 brackets first. Do you want to build the one first on the pod?
Yeah, let's do that. I think that'll be the easiest, and then we can reveal our one bracket that we were supposed to bring from last time.
Perfect. Okay, let's do it.
So I got mine open here, but I don't know how to get out of the women's.
Are you on CBS?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see here. So I opened this up. I'm going to I'll pick the games as we're talking about it as we pick a winner.
Okay. So sounds good. All right, I'm back.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't seen too many places do it differently, but I'm going to go kind of how the brackets are set up on the page. So South, top left, West is bottom left, East is top right, and then Midwest is bottom right. Is that the same for you?
Yep, I'm following.
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll start top left. So Auburn versus one of the first 4 teams, which I believe those games are on Wednesday. But I mean, unless you have an opposition here, Auburn, a 1 seed, was number 1 for a while. Unless this is a huge upset, which to be fair, we have seen over the last couple of years. I feel like they're walking into the second round.
Yes, I agree. I was going to say most of my brackets, if not, I'm pretty sure all of my brackets have them pretty solidified moving on to round 2 here.
Okay, cool.
Could be eating my words, but then again, we've got, 32 picks here in this just the first round.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get
some eat my words on a lot of these.
Yeah, let's be fair. So, I mean, right into one of the juicy games early, Louisville, Creighton. So Louisville's an 8 seed, Creighton the 9. I don't think it's this close. I think Louisville maybe by double digits here.
Double digits. Between 8 and 9. All right. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm ACC, a little biased here. But, I mean, just looking at the numbers, I think I would have to agree with you.
Okay. We're going to go Louisville then. Michigan versus University of California, San Diego. I will see the San Diego's, this is their first ever trip to March Madness. I believe this is the first year they're eligible, actually. And one of the coolest team mascots, they're the Tritons, which I think is awesome.
Okay, that's sick. I might have to go mascot mode on this one.
But I do have to say, so 30-4, they went 18-2 in the Big West. But I feel like they kind of got the shaft here because Michigan is a good team. I think there were maybe some other 5 seeds that they would have had a better chance against, specifically like Memphis down in the West, but I do feel like Michigan is probably the best of the 5 seeds.
Michigan's a tough go. Always has a strong program, and I think for your first trip, I agree. This is a tough first matchup. I will say I did pick them in one of my brackets here. Not sure if I was looking at their numbers or if I just thought, hey, this is going to be that first one.
I mean, it's a great story, right? 12/5 happens all the time. They're really cool stories. It's normally smaller schools that beat up on these bigger schools that didn't have a great season. But I do feel like Michigan could have been a 3 or a 4. So for them down to a 5, it does feel like they're probably improperly seeded. So I do have Michigan beating, even if it's a fun game. I do have Michigan beating San Diego.
Well, what time is this game? Hold on, let me flip screens here. That is the 20th, 10 p.m., late night.
Yeah, where is that game, by the way?
I don't know. Let's see. Ball Arena.
Oh, Denver, Colorado.
There we go.
Mountain time. I mean, playing at elevation, mountain time. I don't know. That's Michigan. I will say, not that this is going to sway me, but Michigan is only a 2.5 point favorite.
I'm looking at that here. I mean, one that's a buzzer beater. Changes that game. So that's what those odds are saying.
This feels like I feel like I got to stick with Michigan, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was an upset. But like I said, I have this feeling like Michigan could have been a 3 or a 4, and for them to be a 5, they're going to feel a little hard done by that. I don't think they're going to be like snuck up on by a 12 seed.
Only time will tell. We'll put an asterisk on this one and say, oh yeah, we knew. We flipped
a coin, yeah.
Yeah, we said that they would win, and we just,
We also wanted to talk, and then just in case San Diego wins, we knew they were going to be the underdog. All right, next I have the 4-13. I have Texas A&M versus Yale.
This one I stopped on for a little while. I may have skipped it and came back to it. Because I'm pretty sure Yale just won.
Won their conference, yeah.
Yes,
the Ivy League.
Yeah. Ivy. I don't know. I think Yale might have this one.
So I have two quick stats for you, which kind of give me not all the information. So Yale's 9-1 in their last 10, which, I mean, if you want to go into the strength of schedule, Yale had the 123rd toughest. Texas A&M had the 9th toughest strength of schedule in the country. If you want to get into record versus top 25, Yale was 0-1, Texas A&M 7-5. And then finally, here's your last one. This is the only thing I think that would kind of tip it in Yale's way. Points per game, Texas A&M at 74.3, Yale's at 81.6.
That's high octane.
But again, you got to look at who they're playing. So yes, you score a ton of points, but strength of schedule is weaker. When you get to the tournament and it's these one-off games, what happens if your shooters go through a cold streak? Right? Are you going to be able to rebound and pick that up like you would against another Ivy League school? So I do think there is upset potential, but I this is one I'm kind of in between on.
A tiny part of me wants to go Aggies here.
But a bigger part of you wants to go Yale.
A bigger part of me wants to go Yale.
All right, let's go.
A bigger part of me wants to go Yale.
Yale with the first upset.
I think these boys coming in on a hot streak. are going to snag at least one.
I'm fine with
this
it.
Dance.
Next one, we have Ole Miss, the 6th seed versus the play-in winner. So that's San Diego State or UNC. And I mean, there's all these stories coming out about how UNC shouldn't have got it, and
I've been reading a bunch of those.
Other schools that were more deserving, but
West Virginia's governors working with the NCAA to like investigate, and it's like, I mean, hey man, you missed the dance. It's unfortunate.
Hey, I was gonna say you have an intimate knowledge of that one with FSU football 2 years ago.
Oh, we know, and you know what? It happens. Suck it up. Get to it next year. Use it as fuel for next year, which is something we didn't necessarily do. But,
right.
We'll get there one day, and I'm talking about the Knowles here. But either way, I think either one of these teams steps into Ole Miss, and it doesn't really go their way.
Hard to argue that. I think I'm good with just moving on Ole Miss and moving on to the next game. 3-14, Iowa State and Lipscomb. Iowa State 24-9, Lipscomb 25-9. I feel like, again, story here, strength of schedule, Iowa State 57th, Lipscomb 258th.
Yikes.
So, but similar to Yale, Lipscomb 9-1 in their last 10. So is it a case of a team gets hot? Maybe, like you said, you win that opening game. 14 seed over 3 would be a huge upset first day, but I do feel like Iowa State's probably good enough to put this one away.
I'd have to agree. Iowa State's got Houston, big number 1. Playing against tougher opponents, I think they run away with this one. Odds have it not even close.
All right, on to the 7-10, Marquette and New Mexico. This one kind of feels like a toss-up for me.
Yeah. I struggled with this one, too.
I'm tempted to go New Mexico, to be honest.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I have no ties either way. I think I'm pretty wishy-washy going through my other brackets here between these two. So, yeah, let's see a little New Mexico magic.
Okay. Gosh, sounds good to me. And then to finish out this region, I have Michigan State at Bryant. I have Michigan State as maybe winning this region, so this is a clear one for me.
I have Michigan State Elite 8.
Okay.
So,
done.
At least that far.
Do you want to move on to the second round for each region, or do you want to move through all the first round games first?
Let's move through all the first round.
Okay. So we're going to go down onto the West. Florida versus Norfolk State. Again, same thing. I think Florida's a Final Four team. I don't really see them struggling here.
I'm not going to say it because it's against my religion, but
but Florida's a damn good team.
I do have them picked pretty far in some of my brackets, and they are a pretty damn good team this year. So
I won't have you say anything else. We'll move on.
I appreciate. Yeah, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna get any sugar coat.
No pleasantries out of you.
Y'all are right up there. Y'all are right. That's all I got.
Yeah, right. You're just secretly, you got your fingers crossed, hoping they lose.
Yeah. I'm hoping they're the first. But
so here's an interesting one. 8-9, UConn, Oklahoma. I don't. So Oklahoma moves to the SEC. Honestly, a god-awful 6-12 in conference play.
Conference play,
which unheard of. You're looking through the records of these teams. You make it as a 9 seed, probably on the back of the fact that SEC was such a tough conference. I mean, Oklahoma did have the 34th strength of schedule, but there's nothing there for me to think that that's an upset, even at an 8 versus 9 matchup.
Yeah, I mean, in a tough conference, you have to find the ability to win tough games, and these are only tough games from now on.
I mean, UConn, 2-time defending champ. They're not the team that they were the last 2 years, for sure. But I do think Dan Hurley's probably still have enough in the tank to at least push them past the opening game.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
All right. It gets dicey here. 5 seed Memphis, 12 seed Colorado State. I really want to root for Colorado State here. 10-0 in their last 10 games. Memphis also 2 players, Dante Harris and Tyrese Hunter, both currently out. They are expected to come back for the game, but again, you're coming off an injury. There's no telling what that's going to look like for those guys.
Yeah.
But this one to me feels like we talked about with the 5-12 in the first region. I could easily see a 12 seed winning here and them everybody being like, well, they're from a smaller conference and nobody knows. And Memphis is just expected to win. But what do you think?
I think so. I customized my settings here on these stats and the metrics for the teams based on what I thought was kind of important. I'm not going to release that because that helped build my bracket, and I'm hoping I win. But
that's proprietary information, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. That's for me to know and nobody to find out. It's got Colorado State as my suggested pick to win here. And honestly, looking at their net ranking, if I'm reading this correctly, hold on. Yeah, Colorado State's actually ranked higher. Not saying that means anything.
I think they might have been in Ken Palm, which is one of the ratings, but Colorado State is also favored on the spread by 2.5.
So we might be onto something here.
I mean, games in Washington State, Colorado, it's a shorter trip for them going out west compared to Memphis having across the country. And again, you said it earlier, we could be wrong about every single one of these, but I'm okay taking a swing on Colorado State here.
Yeah, let's dip into the madness.
Okay.
Let's push them forward.
Next one I have 4 seed Maryland versus 13 seed Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, was it last year, a couple years ago, won 2 games or so and kind of made a name for themselves being out here. I believe they're the Antelopes. But Maryland's a good team this year.
I think I got Maryland going pretty far in some of my other ones out of here. Grand Canyon, respect what they did in their conference overall, 26-7. I mean, that's a hell of a basketball season. But we'll say this over and over again. Could eat our words. I think Maryland's pretty safe.
For now,
they're gonna snub this story. You guys made it pretty far last year, but we're here, and we're gonna take care of business.
Okay, on to 6-11. So, Missouri versus Drake. Drake, the 11 seed, 30-3. They were 17-3 in conference play. Obviously, a weaker strength of schedule, a lower net rating, all this sort of stuff. But holding teams to only 58 points a game. In comparison, Missouri's holding them to 73.5.
That's an insane stat.
So you're looking at a team that defends really well. They're shooting 48% field goal, so a decent shooting team. I think the 9-1 in their last 10. Again, is being hot, getting into the tournament enough to upset and pick up a win there, and sometimes it is.
And I think with a defense like that, what are you supposed to do besides bank on free throws down the stretch if you're Mizzou getting held to 58 points in a game?
Yeah, and you're looking for somebody who can hopefully come through and be that, like we talked about last time, be that guy who can shoot threes or win your pick and roll battles or make your free throws. But if you're coming up against a team that's used to defending that hard every play, sometimes that can be surprising.
It's smothering, and it causes anxiety and mental mistakes. My dad used to always say, now he was talking about football, but he used to say, offense sells tickets, defense wins games.
Absolutely. Yeah, screw it. Let's go Drake here. let's go big upsets in this region. Next, we got Texas Tech, the 3 seed, and UNC Wilmington at the 14. I don't know. I don't know how much is in this one. Texas Tech has a couple guys that are day-to-day, but they are expected to play. I think if they're healthy, this is probably an easy win for them.
Yeah. Number 2 in their conference over here, just behind Houston, who lost 1 game in their conference. Texas Tech gonna take care of this.
All right, and this one, I know I've said this before. This might be one of the more interesting opening games. So, Kansas and Arkansas.
And I was gonna go for it. Kansas and Arkansas.
Oh, you got it, buddy. That's that FSU education.
Yeah, there we go.
2 legendary coaches. Not that Arkansas has the most history historically, or even recently, but Calipari versus Bill Self. 2 guys who have done it, who have won national titles. I don't know what to think here. Part of me wants to think that Arkansas, it's too early for year 1 for him. You're running into another blue blood, but we're going to get to St. John's that they're kind of doing the same thing year 1.
Yeah.
Mark Pope doing the same thing at Kentucky. So I don't know if I can say that year 1 is too early, but I do know Kansas has been supremely disappointing from where they were preseason and the first couple of weeks. So for them, do they bounce back and kind of end the season on a more positive note? Or is this just a season that they just want to burn to the ground?
Well, who do you got? I know I picked one team in this thing. I picked one team every bracket.
Kansas is favored by 4.5. I'm probably leaning Kansas here.
That's what I was leaning to.
Okay. All right. Well then, the less we say, the better. We'll move on. And then here we go with your bracket favorites: St. John's versus Omaha.
This one's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I mean easily one of, if not the story of the season. Wins their conference, great story. Now I think it's about where do the expectations kind of kick in. There's no way that they're expecting to go all the way. So what is the level of success that they're expecting? Is it, hey, we have to make the Elite 8 year 1? Or, hey, if we make it to the Final Four, unbelievable run? I think that's the question they're going to run into as they get past these first couple of games.
And I think I think it'll show. We'll see it.
Okay.
From tip.
Over to the East. Oh, you want to keep talking about St. John's?
No. I was just going to say what these kids, what story they've made for themselves and what kind of mark they want to leave. We're going to see it tip off of this game.
Fair enough. Over to the East, I've got Duke versus, again, one of those play-in games. American and oh boy, I can't even see what that other team is. Mount. It's Duke. I mean, even if Flag is not back yet, I don't think Duke runs into a problem. They're a great team. I think if Cooper Flag does come back, the whole country needs to be worried. But we'll talk more about them in a minute. 8-9, I've got Mississippi State and Baylor. This is another one of those kind of toss-ups. 8 versus 9. It wouldn't be a surprise if there's an upset here. But I think there has to be a conversation about the SEC. As strong as those top-end teams have been, right? Your Tennessees, your Floridas, your Alabamas, Kentucky. Is it pulling these bottom to mid SEC teams above to where they actually are? Like, is Mississippi State actually an 8 seed, or is it because of who they played that they're getting viewed as that?
That's fair. I'm looking at it here. I mean, the top, I think Texas is in a play-in. They're in the first 4.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah. SEC, that's They got, it was like 14 bids.
Yeah, I think they got a record for the most teams in a single conference to make the tournament.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll find out. 14 bids and a non-SEC champion winner, it would be wild. I mean, we'll start counting these 14 bids after round one. But that'll tell it. Oh, like strength of schedule, this and that. But you're about to walk into Baylor here, and I'm actually, ESPN's got Baylor favorite.
Yeah, I saw that. I think Baylor was a really cool story last year with Missy, who is in the league now, but they played fun like bully ball last year, and I couldn't tell you a single thing about them this year. But yeah, I see Baylor here favored by 1.5. I'm fine with going with the Bears.
Let's go Bears.
5-12, another 5-12, man. Oregon versus Liberty. I don't even want to rattle off what the stat is because I'm going to be wrong about it. But something about Oregon with the first opening weekend of the tournament with the current coach that they have, some crazy record. Now after that, once they get into like that Sweet 16 spot, more often than not they're coming up short. But he's got that recipe for those opening games. I do think Liberty would be a fun story here, but I think Oregon's probably good enough. I mean, 10th toughest strength schedule in the country, with a 29th net rating as a 5 seed. I think they're fine.
I think Oregon's going to be just okay. I mean, Liberty coming in top of their conference, feeling pretty good, but that strength schedule there and who Oregon's played, and they only lost 9 games.
Yeah. I think that they're more prepared for this than a Liberty is.
So I do have the Ducks in most of mine.
Okay. Next, we've got Arizona-Akron. Akron has yet to win a game in the men's basketball tournament ever.
Wow.
I don't think it's starting this year.
Me either.
Okay. We'll just Arizona, moving on. Good game here. BYU and VCU. Now, a quick little story. So last year, I'm watching. I think it was UCF BYU streaming on my phone, and then I ended up kind of getting hooked on watching the BYU and the way they play. And granted, that was Mark Pope before he left for Kentucky, but Richie Saunders is kind of their 3-point shooting guy. They play a really fun brand of basketball, really good from outside. As a 6 seed, I don't know. Again, we talk about expectations. I don't know where they're looking to make it to, but I do think that they'll probably pick up a couple of wins along the way.
I think they're a strong suit to win 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
After that, it would.
I was gonna say we'll get into where they'll be. Are you good with moving BYU on?
Yeah, BYU, good to go.
Okay. 3, Wisconsin versus Montana at the 14 seed. How far did Wisconsin go in the Big Ten? Were they in the championship or they lost the semifinal?
I think semis. Showing up 4.
That's another team too. 3 seed, but you're looking at them if they had maybe made the final. Do they push into a 2 seed spot? Maybe bump out somebody like a Tennessee? I think Wisconsin's a good team.
I think Wisconsin is always a really good basketball team. Can't speak to football, but always good basketball.
Little Melvin Gordon action?
Yeah. I think they're okay here.
Okay. Here we go. 7, St. Mary's versus Vanderbilt at the 10 seed. St. Mary's they don't really, I mean, you're looking at like who they play, strength of schedule. Vandy obviously has the tougher strength of schedule being in the SEC, but St. Mary's 28-5. Same thing with that defense we kind of talked about, holding teams to just 60 points a game. I think St. Mary's has got it.
Yes, I have St. Mary's There'll be no field goal throwing into the river for Vandy here.
No cutting off the nets and throwing them in the river, yeah.
Yeah, none of that.
And then to finish out the region, Bama versus Robert Morris. It's Bama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bama, number one strength of schedule in the entire country. They're going through. Which is a crazy fact. However, they did make the Final Four last year, so I probably should give them a little more credit. Finally, the last region, Midwest. Well, I think we can click Houston and move on.
Yep.
We know they're not losing that one.
This next one I wasn't so sure about, though.
So here's an interesting thing. I think Georgia, and to preface, this is the Gonzaga 8 versus Georgia 9. I think Georgia is the case that we talked about earlier of getting kind of that SEC bias on that bump. I don't think Georgia's a 9 seed. I do think Gonzaga suffers from playing in a weaker conference because I think they're better than that. I mean, their net rating is 8th in the country, and they are an 8 seed.
Yeah, and that's a little, honestly, kind of disrespectful, in my opinion. But I think Gonzaga, as well as ESPN, they got them favored looking at that here. I think Gonzaga has this one. Looking at their schedule, they did lose to damn near every SEC team there is. They didn't play Georgia, though. So, actually, they beat Florida back in February. Huh. I think it'll be a good game. I think Gonzaga comes out on top. I do agree that some of the, probably a lot of these teams are getting pulled up because their strength of schedule, because they're in the SEC.
Okay. I mean, we're going Gonzaga. I think some of these second round matchups, we're going to have to duke them out to see which team's moving on. Next, I've got Clemson versus McNeese. I think this is probably the 1-5-12 matchup. I don't think there's going to be an upset. I think Clemson is a decent team, although McNeese 10-0 in their last 10 games. But I don't know. I mean, unless you think McNeese is an upset here.
No, I think the Tigers here pull this one out.
Set it and forget it. All right, 4 versus 13. I got Purdue and High Point. There is a very small part of me that wants to think that High Point can do it. Scoring 82 points a game, holding teams at 68. Their strength of schedule is in the trash can, but 14-2 in conference play, and undefeated in their last 10. But I think the thing with Purdue is tougher team, tougher conference, everything like that. However, 1-2 in their last 3 games. Lost to Illinois, lost to Michigan. And when I say lost to Michigan, they got blown out by 18 points.
Yeah.
So I don't know here. And if you want to go back even further, they are 3-6 in their last 9. So is it just are they a cold team that's walking into the tournament that could get upset? Maybe. But I think they're probably fine.
I think they're okay this round. I don't think they take it any farther.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're on big upset watch next round. Next, I've got 6 Illinois against the play-in winner Texas or Xavier as the 11 seed. I think Illinois is one of those teams they're sneaky good. Ranked as the 17th highest team. 17th also is their strength of schedule. I don't think they're going to have a problem with this opener.
No. They're going to move on. We got I had a question if Texas was in it, but I don't think they struggle with either of these teams. We'll see. I'll be watching, Wednesday, I think?
Wednesday, the first 4, yeah.
Yeah, first 4 of the 18th. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I change my mind before brackets close. But I got Illinois.
All right, then we got Kentucky, Troy. It's Kentucky.
I want it to be Kentucky.
I don't think there's a chance for an upset here.
Okay.
And I will say, I'm going to say this. Calipari, for as great as he was there was always that uneasiness that you had, which, again, you can attest to more than anybody for Kentucky. But
I know.
I feel like Pope has come in, kind of revamped things a little bit, and I think he's kind of given that belief back that, okay, no, we are Kentucky. Like, we're going to be okay.
Go Cats.
Okay, there we go. Last two here, I got UCLA and Utah State, 7 versus 10. This one might be upset watch. Utah State scoring almost 81 points a game. But I think UCLA's better conference, better team, better strength of schedule. 5-3 against teams in the top 25. And a really solid defense.
Defense wins games.
There you go. And then final game of the opening round, I got Tennessee versus Wofford. Tennessee at the 2, Wofford at the 15. This one's kind of like a shoulder shrug to me. Tennessee is a really good team.
This one, for me, was fun to pick. Because I got blood. My brother finished off his college degree at Wofford. I got a Wofford shirt. So give me that Wofford hat. I'm pulling Terriers.
Okay. I'll put them on there for you. I'll give you that. All right, let's get into the next round here. Let's get into the second round. I got back to the South. We're going to go Auburn, Louisville. I'm going to be honest here, man. Louisville might have this game. I think Louisville's better than an 8 seed. And I don't know if I quite trust Auburn yet.
I mean, Auburn says one, but, I mean, Louisville, number 3 in the ACC here. Only lost in the last, let's see.
Duke.
They lost to
Duke by 11. That's it.
So, I mean, if they can clean things up from that, they ended up beating Clemson, who's 2. Beat Florida State, which isn't much to talk about. I hate seeing that. Why do I see it everywhere? I agree with you. I think this is going to be that round 2 first, like, shock and awe. Cue the memes of the crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
In this game.
My favorite part of March Madness. The band kid that has his hands on his head crying about what's going on. All right, next one, we've got Michigan, Yale. As much as I love the story of Yale, it probably ends here.
It ends here, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got Ole Miss, Iowa State. I don't know. I don't know here. Again, Ole Miss, are they going to suffer from the SEC bias? 3-9 versus teams in the top 25.
And this, I'm giving it to Iowa State here.
Okay.
I think you did enough this season to get to the dance. You got past the play-in, guys. Congrats. Here's a cookie.
Yeah. Here's a cookie. You're going home.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Michigan State, New Mexico. I think it's Michigan State here.
I think this is a steamroll.
Okay. On to the West, Florida and UConn. UConn, fun story against Oklahoma. I think Florida's got it.
That's fair. My Florida story ends there, but that's just because I'm a hater.
Okay, well, I will push Florida, as Florida
acknowledged.
I will push Florida over the line for this game. So here's a good one. Maryland at the 4 seed, Colorado State is the 12 seed.
Here we go.
What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking this is going to be a really good basketball game should this encounter happen. But I think Maryland might have them with, like, free throws at the end of the second half.
That's fair. I can vibe with that. I can agree with you there.
Just a little bit of grit at, that second half, or in football, fourth quarter energy. I think it gets them the face-off against Florida.
Okay. On to the next one, we've got Drake and Texas Tech. I do think the Drake story ends here.
I also think the Drake story ends here. You know whose story doesn't end here, though? St. John's.
I think I have to agree with you.
St. John's 2. We got Kansas 7. Talking about the struggles of Kansas a little earlier. St. John's coming in very strong that year one. Coach energy.
I'm down. So, I'm down for it.
They're going to get to that through this second round, in my opinion, and then we're going to see what the coaching is like in that Elite Eight here.
In those tougher games, yeah.
In those tougher games, yeah. Oh, no, I guess it's Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 first, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the East. Duke, Baylor. I think you have to assume at this point Cooper Flagg's probably back.
Yes. I think they were talking about, or they're might be considering resting him game 1. Just so that he has, what would that be, 1, 2, 3, 4 games to play after that?
Yeah.
So
but you're looking at, you're probably giving him, it's a week, close to a week rest?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be fine. Yeah, it's Duke here.
He's there. If he sits round 1, he's coming back round 2.
Yes, agree.
So
they're not going to risk a tough game that he can't just come off the bench and score 20 points in.
Right.
So yeah, we've got Duke 4-5, Arizona, Oregon.
I think this is going to be one of the harder ones.
I agree with you. Arizona looked good towards the end of their conference, but two losses to Houston, lost to Kansas, lost to Iowa State, and a loss to BYU, even if it's by 1. Meanwhile, you flip it, looking at Oregon, only 2 losses in the last 10 games, both to Michigan State, which we just talked about, are a favorite to win their region.
Yeah.
I think for me, looking at which team's hotter, I'm probably going Oregon, but I could be persuaded either way here.
I think I got the Ducks here.
Okay.
Unless Arizona comes out and wins by like 18 versus Akron.
First game.
Possible. First round.
Possibility, sure.
50%, 55% from 3, then you might be like, oh, okay, well, maybe not. But I think I comfortably got Oregon here.
Okay. Moving on. BYU, Wisconsin.
This is it right here. I think upset.
Really? See, as much as I was just talking big game for BYU, I think running into Wisconsin is just bad luck. I don't know.
Swear it starts to gnaw at you a little bit. Am I making the right decision?
I mean, again, if you want to get into like the nitty gritty numbers, Wisconsin is the number 1 free throw shooting team in the country.
Ooh.
I know.
A game like this, that's what it's going to come down to.
That's my point. They're both giving up 70 points a game, both scoring around 80 points a game. You're going to get into that nitty gritty second round, right? Guys are going to be either tired or banged up. And if it comes down to those free throws, BYU is 241st in the country.
Oh, man.
Shooting 70%.
All right. Book them Badgers.
Yeah, well, I go Badgers there.
Badgers.
Finish the region off. I've got Bama 2 versus St. Mary's 7. And I think it's Bama. I think the St. Mary's run ends here.
Yes.
Okay. Final region, Midwest. Houston, Gonzaga. There is a part of me that wants to go Gonzaga with the upset. Just because they are a much better team. Again, you're looking at their net rating. Houston is 3rd. Gonzaga is 8th. Like, this is not a 1 versus 8 matchup.
No, not at all. And I'll say this. I think if Gonzaga can win this game, I think they stand a chance at the whole thing.
I would agree with that. Yeah. But for this game.
But for this game.
What's your gut?
They got to win this one.
What's your gut telling you?
My gut's telling me they can't.
Okay. That's fair.
My gut's telling me they can't. Like, that'd be a statement. If you want to win it all, like, beat number one. Number three, number one, what have you. But
we'll bet against you until you do it.
Fair.
And on the other side, I got Clemson, Purdue. I don't really.
This is one of those coin flippers for me.
Yeah. Don't really have a vibe either way.
I'm going Clemson just out of ACC.
Sure.
At number 2 in the ACC, just behind Duke, who's at number 1. So.
And they beat Duke by 6 a little bit ago.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that gives me pause about Purdue, great shooting team. 11th in field goal percentage, 13th in 3-point percentage in the country. But, when like you said, when we get to the second game of the weekend kind of thing, team goes ice cold, it's done.
Yep. Are your threes hitting Wednesday night and Saturday night?
All right, we'll keep Clemson there. All right, last two, I got Kentucky, Illinois. I'm okay with leading the charge for Kentucky here. I think they've got at least the first 2 games taken care of.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. You've got more faith than me. Obviously, I'm rooting for them, but they've let me down in brackets before, so.
Well, then let's move on to your Terriers, because after a historic upset over Tennessee,
can they do it again?
What's going on against UCLA?
I told my brother and sister this in our group chat. I was like, look, they got Tennessee, but that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
We'll go Bruins. All right, let's knock out Sweet 16. We're slowly but surely making our way there.
We're getting there.
Louisville, Michigan. At this point, I don't feel like the seeds matter too much. Now it's just about who's hot.
No. Who's hot? And after beating Auburn, in our opinion, I think it's Louisville.
Okay. And then other side of that, we've got Iowa State, Michigan State, which would be a great game.
2-3. They're in the East. Yeah. Would love to see this. I think the Spartans are charging.
I think so, too. Down into the West, let's go Florida, Maryland.
Well, you know what I want to pick.
I know you want to pick against Florida.
I know I want to pick it, but I think Florida's too good this year.
Yeah,
so.
We'll go Florida there. They're still dancing. And on onto your Big Red, St. John's, Texas Tech.
Oh, you know how this lines up for me. You see what I'm setting up here?
I see. I think I can see what you're doing here. Yeah.
All right, because you know who wins this game.
St. John's. There we go. On to the East. Duke, Oregon. I think, again, barring a massive injury for Duke, I think they're walking through the region. Yeah.
I think, you got your finger. I'm not even going to say it. Caster's curse. Not even going to say it. You have no idea how many times that happens in everywhere. It happened to Steph Curry the other night. He freaking hadn't missed a free throw all season. The announcers were like, oh, you haven't missed a free throw all season? Misses the next free throw.
Of course he does.
Misses the next free throw. It could be something like that, and I shit you not, it happens in Spidey sports too. Oh, this guy, blah, 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 and then he dies. It's like, yo, just don't say anything. So I'm not going to say anything. I think Duke has this.
Okay. We'll leave it there.
I'm hoping all these teams stay healthy. Injuries are part of the game, but we'll move on.
Great game here. Alabama, Wisconsin.
It is going to be a great game. At least I hope so. Because I can see this going one of two ways.
Okay.
Bama by 7.
Okay.
or Wisconsin free throws?
I'll give you the stat since you asked for it. Bama is the 207th free throw shooting team at 71%.
That's pretty far down there.
Alabama also gives up an amazing 81 points per game. But they score 90 points a game.
Good Lord.
So it's going to be one of those high-scoring games where...
This one's going to the 80s for sure.
Yeah. And if that happens, then you have to think, right, either three-pointers are coming into play or it's going to be a ton of free throws. Neither team is great at three-pointers. They're both about at 35%. But I think Bama's the fastest team, like pushing the tempo.
So if you get some, a lot of fast breaks, counterattack points.
I'm okay with Bama here.
All right.
All right, on to the last region, Midwest, Houston, Clemson. I think the biggest test that Houston had was Gonzaga.
Yes.
So we'll have them go past Clemson there. And then on to your Wildcats versus UCLA.
I think if they tackle Illinois, they can handle UCLA.
Okay. Let's get into into the Final Four here. I've got the South region, Louisville, Michigan State. My gut says Spartans.
My gut does also say Spartans.
But
that's a hell of a run right here from
Louisville. It is. Beat Auburn, beat Michigan, lose to Michigan State. Hey, that's how it happens sometimes. All right.
I think it happens. I think that's what happens.
I'm gonna let you take over here for this West Final Four. Or Elite Eight, I should say.
West Elite Eight. We got Florida St. John's U. Here we go. So I was talking a big game last time I was on about how, St. John's ranked 7. Now their net ranking is 13. At least that's what CBS has here. Florida, they just won SEC, correct?
Yeah. They beat Tennessee in the final.
Sorry, again, against my religion, can't really watch them. Yeah, they did beat Tennessee in the final there. So much of me thinks Florida's such a good team, but I think SJU has something special going on this year. I think that first-year coach thing, Elite Four.
Okay. Final Four.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. All right, we'll push on St. John's. Into the East, Duke, Alabama. I feel like it's Duke.
Yeah. Speed versus, in my opinion, more classical basketball.
But best player in the country.
I think they got some kind of defense, some scheme written up to guard that. So, Duke, Final Four.
All right, last region. I've got Kentucky, Houston. Here's my stats I'm going to throw you for this one.
All right.
Houston is second in three-point percentage, shooting just under 40% from three. But
that's crazy.
That is a crazy number. But for all those points that they score, Kentucky is scoring almost 11 points more a game, playing in the SEC.
That sounds like a Kentucky W to me.
I'm good with it. I'm okay with that upset.
Guard the 3.
If you want to talk the first year bump with St. John's, you got to give it to Kentucky as well.
Let's do it. Absolutely.
All right, you've now hit the Final Four. I've got Michigan State, St. John's on one side.
Now what? Now I'm torn.
This is tough. Does the magic pixie dust end after the Elite Eight, or can they win another game?
I think. Are they going to have enough in the tank to do that? To Texas Tech, Florida, maybe.
And then again, Michigan State. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, sure. I'm going to say, yeah. At least get him in the final. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm looking at it here. From what we discussed, Michigan State looks like a relatively should be easy first round, kind of warming up, kicking into second, third gear maybe for that second round versus we picked New Mexico. Then they got a test for Iowa State and Louisville and what we picked. Are they going to be strapped up, ready for a championship game by then? Should be, obviously. You're four games into the dance, but I don't know. I think if SJU pulls it out versus Florida, they're going to be on some kind of high that anything they throw up is going to be falling.
I'm good with it. On the other side, Duke versus your Kentucky Wildcats.
So let me take a peek at the season here because I'm pretty sure I was up in Kentucky visiting family when we lost to Duke. Let me just double check, see if I am correct on that. No, we lost to Ohio State that day.
Okay.
So, not Duke. Beat Duke early in the season, and that was the only time they played. Beat Duke by 5 in November.
My gut tells me Duke here.
Gut tells you Duke.
My gut tells me Duke.
They played Florida in January. Okay. 106 to 100.
Okay.
Win.
Okay.
They just lost to Alabama 99 to 70, though.
Correct. And they've lost to Auburn, Bama, and Texas in their last 10.
Yes. Bama twice. Auburn by 16. I don't know. If they score a lot of points, if their offense is hot, they're good. But their defense, I'm looking at these point scores here, 90, 100 versus Florida, 89 in OT versus Gonzaga, which they won, by the way. Jackson State, that doesn't count.
Here, I'll hit you with this. Last 10 games, Duke has only given up more than 70 points once. And it was 71 points against North Carolina. They've held every other team in their last 10 under 70.
Well,
that's including Illinois and Louisville.
What have I been saying?
Yeah,
defense wins games.
Yeah, and here's the problem. So we're going to go Duke St. John's in the championship game. As much as I love a Cinderella story.
I love it, but I think she turns into a pumpkin here.
Yeah, I think, again, as cool as it would be, and it would be cool, objectively, more often than not, when you're getting into those games, best player needs to take over. Cooper Flagg is the best college player in the country. And I think he'll push them over the line. Wins his title, National Player of the Year, number 1 draft pick into the NBA. He has the best year ever. But that's what I've got. So we've got the Duke Blue Devils cutting down the nets.
What you got for your score prediction?
So again, looking at how much defense these guys play, I'm probably going I'm going to say 70 to 64.
Okay. I got 74-69.
Okay. Well, close enough. All right, sweet. Well, like I said, I'll post that out. My personal bracket, the one that I ended up making, I had Florida over Duke, But I did have Duke and Kentucky on one side, but I had Florida and Michigan State on the other. So largely similar. But yeah, man, favorite sports week of the year. Honestly, cannot wait for Thursday.
Oh, I can't wait. There's so many games, so much action going on.
Games start, but it's like every 45 minutes there's a new game going on.
Yeah. So I got 2 monitors, a TV in here. I got a TV in the living room. I'm ready to go.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's there were a couple of things we wanted to recap, right? Just kind of change gears.
Yeah, just a couple things to touch on here.
So what you got?
Let's see. I actually saw something earlier that I wanted to touch on. Pardon me for just a second. Okay. This is what I saw. So, get this. Saw this story today. South Alabama got an invite to the NIT, but it was rescinded. Here's why.
Hit me.
So, UC Riverside is the original invitation was sent to. They declined because they were going to participate in it was the College Basketball Invitational. No NCAA affiliation. They were going to go do that. So, they declined the invite. Cool. So they sent it to South Alabama. South Alabama was like, all right, awesome. We'll do that. I'll tell the boys we're playing in the NIT. Just kidding. A day or so later, statements were released, and UC Riverside got out of its commitment to the College Basketball Invitational and accepted the invite to the NIT. And so South Alabama got their invite taken away. Thoughts?
First off, I think it's amazing that they're still coming up with new end-of-year tournaments, right? I mean, I get the NIT being a thing, right? It's been a thing for a while, but you don't need more college. Now it's turning into a participation trophy for these teams that went 15-15. Like, your season's over, man. That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need the Mayo Bowl for your team to go play one more game.
Ain't that the truth?
But I don't know. Part of me feels like they should honor it. If you sent that invitation, sorry. Like if you're who'd you say that first? If you're UC Riverside and you decline the invitation,
because you got something else going on.
Well, you declined it. That offer is only good until you say yes or no. And again, in my opinion,
at least, yeah.
And if you're the commissioner or whoever else it is that handles the invitations, and you hear a no, and you're going to the next person, and you're saying, "Hey, do you want to come?" and you get a yes, that's a done deal. I don't care if you get buyer's remorse, and now you want to turn around and renege and say, "No, we want to come." Sorry, dude, your spot's gone. I don't think that I don't think West Virginia has a leg to stand on with the UNC thing. Although maybe UNC wasn't as deserving, it's still like a tight spot. I do feel like if this had happened to somebody, you got some. Say what you need to say, like get it off your chest because you should be pissed.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's absolutely. Now, looking at the story, it's phone calls and emails and all this going on, but still, like that's wild. And if I'm South Alabama, I'm pissed for a while.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what's the best way you could turn it around is be good enough that you make the Division I tournament. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be one way to turn around.
Wow. So yeah, that was just a little tidbit I saw. Doing the old doom scroll after work. That I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. That's I wonder how many times that's happened.
Yeah, right. How many times it doesn't get talked about? But I'm sure there'll be more to this as they get into that. Like you said, with teams, I don't think anybody's going to take it as far as FSU football did, where they're like writing letters to the government to like, oh, this isn't fair. But sports are sports, man. when you get into a sport where there is a committee to decide who gets in and who doesn't, there's always going to be teams that feel like they deserve it that don't get in. And teams that maybe shouldn't have gotten in, but they get in anyways, and it happens.
Yeah. I mean, TCU back a few years ago before they got blown out the next time they got in.
Yes.
You know, and obviously different year, different team, so I'm not, like, connecting the two. But, like, should they have got in the year before? I don't know. And then they get in the next year, and everything that the committee was saying about them the year before was starting to make sense. And it's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, this is why they didn't let him in last year. So,
I mean, Notre Dame getting in, Washington a couple of years ago, you know, did they deserve it? Probably. But are you looking for what's the most entertaining or the best matchup, or are you looking for the teams that deserve it? Right? UNC is a national blue blood. Even if they aren't having a great year, you know there are going to be people who tune in for that game. Yeah, you will have more people who watch that UNC game, assuming they win their first four.
Yeah, and it's not like they lost to Duke every time this year.
Right. True.
They didn't. So if they're out there beating the number one team, it's like, okay, well, what else can they do? That means they can pretty much do anything, at least in theory, any given day.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And I did see at college football, I believe they're talking about expanding again to try to include more teams.
Which is hella awesome because I don't know about you, but I had more fun watching that one this year than anything.
I did, but I think the way that they had it with the top seeds and who's hosting and who's not, I feel like they got shafted. I feel like Oregon got shafted.
Yes, for sure. And, you know, but there's going to be some of that.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Until everything is ironed out. Okay, Oregon got shafted, but they also got blown.
Correct. It wasn't even a close game.
So, like, sure, you got shafted, but you didn't even come to play. So
I think an easy way to fix that, and I kind of brushed up on it a couple weeks ago, is like your top seeds host. That's it. Like put a college game day experience for the Ducks in Eugene, or I don't remember who the other Penn State hosting a game, or whoever these teams are, because those stadiums can fit 70, 80, got 90,000 people. That's not the problem.
Yeah. Doak is 83.
Exactly.
And I know their stadium's a lot bigger than that.
Ohio State's, I think, 100K. Michigan's like 110. Like, you can do those massive games there. You don't have to have it at the same four stadiums every year.
Right.
The
Which I know
Cowboys and Mercedes-Benz, and like that doesn't have to be at those places.
Yeah.
But I think if you turn those into home games, man, you're looking at a really good fan atmosphere. You're making it tough for these teams to want to go there. Plus, you're kind of giving it – there is a little bit of an advantage now if you're one of those top seeds.
But, I mean, you just played all year for that advantage.
That's exactly, yeah. I mean,
you went 10
like
and
the
2,
NFL.
you know, like, or whatever it is. So.
Well, and then last thing kind of is NFL free agency. So, new league season has started. Draft is, a little over a month away. You're getting into what these trades are and aging guys on contracts you're trying to move on from. But there's two that I really wanted to speak on. And one is obviously my Jets picking up Justin Fields.
Yep.
Which I am cautiously optimistic on.
As you should be.
I read a really good article from The Athletic a couple days ago from one of the Jets beat writers talking about this is the first offseason in, God, probably close to 5 or 6 years where they're not talking about winning the offseason. They're not talking about expectations. They're not talking about how many wins they're going to have. It's just, here are the moves we've made. That's it. And I like that. Right? We're not picking up Justin Fields saying, "Oh, we're going to win 10 games next year."
Yeah, like and I don't think that should ever be the plan. These things are. It's not. It's an 11 person on each side. It's a 53-man roster. It's a process.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be when they picked up Aaron Rodgers, the whole story was Super
they
Bowl
were thinking
bust.
they were going to go. Well, you saw how that went.
Well, that's my point. That's my point is that that clearly didn't work. So what do? You clean house, new quarterback, new coach, new GM. And now you're trying this, hey, like, we're just going to kind of make moves, be a little bit under the radar, and hopefully just make some smart business decisions.
Just, play a little bit of chess, win a few games in the conference, and everything will fix itself from there.
So the two things that I really liked about it, so it's a 2-year deal, $20 million per, so $40 million total, but the $30 million is guaranteed. So basically, if this year sucks and you go 3 wins, 4 wins, 5 wins, right? God forbid, but say that happens. You're looking at another good draft pick next year. You're still on the hook for 1 more year with Fields, but you technically would only owe him another $10 million because you've already paid your 30.
Yeah.
To me, that's okay, because then you pick up probably a young quarterback on the draft. I think next year's draft class for quarterbacks is going to be very good. So then assume you suck, you get a good pick, you pick up a quarterback, you let him play under Fields' last year, which would be a prove it for him. To me, that's the way you kind of build out what your future looks like. Best case scenario, this is a good year for Fields. They win 7, 8, 9 games. All of a sudden, he deserves more money, and the Jets still have him for 1 more year on a cheap deal. So to me, this makes sense. I don't think that I don't think you lose here. I think the only way that you would lose is if you're mediocre, right? You win 7 games and it's like, how do we get better?
Yeah. They're like,
But I think Fields has a higher ceiling than Rodgers. He can run. We haven't had a super mobile quarterback in a long time. Even when we had Mike Vick, you're talking end of his career. And now it depends on what you want to do with the 7 pick. So that was one that excited me. Not to the point that I'm thinking we're going to make the playoffs, but to the point that maybe this franchise is finally turning the corner a little bit away from the depths of hell that we were in for years. How
many corners are down there?
Dude, it's a round room. We can't turn a corner. And the last one is the Cup trade.
Cup. This one was interesting. Because Seahawks just got rid of Lockett and Metcalf.
Right. Yep. You release Lockett and you trade Metcalf to the Steelers.
Yep. And now you got Sam Darnold, who was on an 11-win football team last season.
Was that it? I thought it was more than that.
I think they lost because they played the last game versus. Did they lose the wild card or the first round of playoffs? It was something crazy because both the Lions and the Vikings were 11-2 when they played. I'm pretty sure, or one lost teams or something. And the winner won the division, and the loser went to like wild card or something.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. I was going to the standings.
14-3.
14-3. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, finished 1 game back of the Lions.
And that 1 game was the game they lost to them.
Right.
I think, so Cup hasn't been as productive the last, since tearing his ACL.
Yeah, I was going to say, injuries have been not great.
You can't, it's so tough, those ACL tears, because you're never really, fully back. And even if you are, your risk for injury is increased because you've already torn it once. So if he's a glimmer of the what do they call it? Because he won it the year they won the Super Bowl. He had most yards, catches.
Oh, the Triple Crown.
Yes, there we go. If we see a glimmer of that, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, Seahawks 10-7 last year. Just missed out on winning their division to the Rams, but I do think the issue is now you're talking about a new quarterback and a new number 1 receiver. Right? Is that enough?
Yeah.
in a fairly competitive division. The 49ers are not going to be as bad next year as they were this year.
Definitely not.
Cardinals were 8-9, but that's a sneaky 8-9 because they could easily turn 2 or 3 of those games around and be a playoff team.
Yep.
And the Rams are only going to get better. I don't know. That's one of those, like, I think if I'm the Jets, I think I would be disappointed if I got Kupp, a 31-year-old Kupp coming off injuries, and you're paying him decent money. But like you said, if he does show the player he was, I mean, he was untouchable for two or 3 years, right?
Yeah, and I have been hoarding him on every single one of my fantasy squads.
as you should.
I can't tell you how many trades Barron has tried to send me because that was back when Kupp was on the Rams, and he wanted all the Rams players. Sorry, Barron, but man was getting me points, so I had to keep him.
Yeah, I mean he'll be all right. Well, I want to. We did our brackets. We talked a little bit of free agency. Baseball season kicks off this week, right? Tomorrow.
Opening day is this week.
Or the Tokyo series starts. That's Cubs Dodgers. I think that's Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
We got big sports month, I will say. Starting now, going through the end of March Madness into the draft. So, plenty to talk about. But yeah, we'll catch up again. Maybe we'll check in with when we get to the end of this tournament and see how our brackets are doing.
See how many of those words we're going to be eating up.
Oh, boy. I will tell you what, if St. John's disappoints, I am not going to let you live it down.
That's, it is what it is.
But if they win it all, I'll say you were the first one.
Hey, profit.
All right, buddy. I'll catch you later.
All right, man. Take it easy.
See you.
Later.